We have not heard if anyone else was hurt, but of course we're going to keep reaching out to DPD for updates, and we're going to let you know when that road reopens.
Meanwhile, we'll go over to Allen. We got a situation working here as well. Police are working to clear this scene of a crash that ended with fire. If you look down there on the lower right-hand side, that's where the fire occurred with that truck. Officers tell us a suspected drunk driver ended up hitting several cars and that school bus you see on the left side after running a red light. Thankfully, nobody on that bus hurt. The suspect, though, and two others have been taken to an area hospital. Also at 5 o'clock, we're now just hours away from that partial closure of a major highway. We'll talk about what this could mean for your weekend plans.
But first, it's the final push for lawmakers in Washington to strike a deal to avert a government shutdown. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gilma Avalos, filling in for Kaylee O'Kelly while she's on leave.
And I'm Doug Dunbar. So as of right now, no deal between Democrats and Republicans, and no real indication of a path forward in the moment to try and reach an agreement on the government funding before this midnight deadline. Karen Kaifa now reporting on the negotiations as we stand from Capitol Hill.
This vote should be a no-brainer.
With just hours to go before a midnight deadline to keep the government open, it all comes down to the Senate.
Shame on us, and shame on the majority party, the Republicans.
The House Thursday night passing a short-term bill to fund the government through mid-February. In the Senate, 60 votes are needed, requiring bipartisan support. But Democrats are holding firm, insisting that immigration reform and protection for so-called dreamers is included. The Republican leadership says those talks should come later. DACA won't expire until March at the earliest.
Apparently they believe that the issue of illegal immigration is more important than everything else.
President Trump is pushing for the short-term deal, and the White House says he will put off a planned trip to Mar-a-Lago until an agreement is reached. Friday afternoon, President Trump summoned Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to the White House for a one-on-one meeting.
We discussed all of the major outstanding issues. We made some progress, but we still have a good number of disagreements. The discussions will continue.
White House officials, meanwhile, are pinning the blame squarely on Democrats. This would be the first time in about 40 years that Washington fails to fund the government with the same party in control of both Congress and the White House. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Okay, so here we are. Begs the question, if midnight comes and the shutdown happens, let us discuss for a moment exactly what that means for all of us. Political reporter Jack Fink, live in Mesquite this afternoon, getting some answers for us. Jack, what's reality?
Well, Doug, many vital services and programs will continue even if the federal government were to shut down after midnight. But if you lost a job recently and collect a check, an unemployment check from the Texas Workforce Commission, well, then you may very well feel the brunt of this. And that's because most of the money from this program comes from the feds.
Because I had worked with my...
Byron McPherson collected unemployment last year, and now, after losing one of his two jobs, he doesn't want to be out of work again.
I'd rather get out there and work as hard as I have to do it, ever I have to avoid that unemployment struggle.
But those who are out of a job and receive an unemployment check may be impacted if the federal government shuts down. When that happened in 2013, the state of Texas continued paying unemployment and was reimbursed by the feds. But there's no word yet what would happen this time. McPherson says he knows how important that check was.
And I was able to get by with paying some bills.
Other federal programs and services won't be impacted. Social Security recipients will still receive their benefits. The military will stay on the job, and the post office and VA will remain open.
Yes, I'm very, very relieved of that. I'm very relieved of that.
While Vincent Nixon, a disabled veteran in Dallas, is happy to hear he'll still be able to go to the VA, he says he's still worried about the potential government shutdown because his wife works for a federal agency.
If the government shuts down, she has no work, it takes away from our income as far as a household concerned. So I have 3 kids, so I have to look after them.
Now, today I checked with the state to see if health and educational programs would be impacted by a federal government shutdown, and they say those programs that rely on federal funding are fine for now and won't be affected in the short term. Live in Mesquite, Jack Fink, CBS 11 News.
Jack, thanks much. We are on top of developments in Washington, of course, as the countdown to midnight continues. We're all watching here. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure to like us on Facebook so you get immediate updates as they happen. And also check our website, cbsdfw.com.
In Irving, fire officials are going through rubble at an apartment complex trying to figure out what started this fire this morning. More than 30 people are out of their homes right now, and we're told at least 18 units were damaged or destroyed at the Water Ridge apartments. No injuries were reported. Will there be a verdict in the Antonio Cochran trial? He's accused of the kidnapped murder of teenager Zoe Hastings. After more than 17 hours of deliberations, jurors have been unable to reach a unanimous decision. Robbie Owens is live at the Crowley Courthouse with where things stand right now. Robbie?
Well, Gilma, jurors just called it a day and went home, but at least they have not thrown in the towel. They will be back here tomorrow morning at 9 to continue working a rare Saturday deliberation as they try to reach a verdict. After some 17 hours, as you said, of deliberations, it was beginning to look as though this jury might be deadlocked. At one point, they even sent the judge a note asking how long they needed to deliberate before declaring that they couldn't reach a verdict. Fortunately, they went back at it, got to work. The judge told them that they would make the decision when they could not go any further. And the good news for everyone involved is that they are still deliberating and will continue to do so at least through Saturday. Now, this late question here this afternoon wasn't the first one. This has been a busy day for this jury. Earlier in the day, they wanted to hear more technical testimony. They wanted to see an animation provided earlier in the trial that showed where Cochran's cell phone had pinged towers in the past 45 days. An expert told them that the only time Cochran's cell phone had pinged a tower near the Walgreens where Hastings disappeared was on the day and around the time that she vanished. Now, there's a red light on the wall that signals when the jury has a question or needs a break, and it has been busy today. Just before jurors decided that they had gone as long as they could today, they asked the judge another question. They sent out another note. We've learned that that late afternoon question was about some of the witness testimony. So sort of conflicting signals here. We know that jury has been working hard. We know they are frustrated, but we also know that they are still trying to reach a verdict. We will, of course, let you know what happens. Reporting live at the Frank Crowley Courthouse in Dallas, Robbie Owens, CBS 11 News.
Thank you, Robbie. A murder investigation out of Mansfield finally led to the identification of skeletal remains found back in 2015.
As we first told you last night, it was a forensic sketch artist who came up with a rendering that led investigators ultimately to the family of Tammy Washington. Well, today we spoke to her son about this development. Ken Molestina here with what the son had to say.
Yeah, we caught up with him earlier today. He lives in Mesquite now. You know, this is a case that really didn't advance until August of last year. Washington had gone missing in 2005, and now police want to know who killed her. As for her son, he tells us he finally has a little bit of closure.
Last I seen her, it was September 2004.
Brandon Washington says every day since then he's wondered.
You wake up confused every day.
Where his mother, Tammy Washington, was and if she was ever coming back. Mansfield police say they discovered skeletal remains in a creek back in 2015. Last August, a forensic expert with the Texas Ranger used those remains to create this composite sketch of what the victim looked like. It was a spot-on image of Washington.
It was bone-chilling because in my head, to me, I was like, it had to be her.
Her family contacted police. A DNA match was made, and the initial questions of what happened to her have started to come together.
I don't have to spend nights wondering, you know, where she at, how she's doing.
It comes as a small relief. Authorities believe she was murdered, but they don't know why, exactly when, or by who. There's an old saying that all things happen in due time. But for Brandon,
what?
who now has kids of his own, having to wait indefinitely for more details is just adding to the mystery surrounding his mother's murder.
God knows, but maybe, you know, got around the wrong people and they did her no good. I just wish she was here for at least her grandchildren to get to meet them.
Well, through their investigations, detectives believe Washington was killed sometime between 2005 and 2011. The case remains cold, and Mansfield police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Doug?
All right. Systematic discrimination against female athletes. Those are the words that are being used in a federal lawsuit against SMU today. Current and former members of the university's rowing team say that the school violated equal treatment rules for years. Steve Pickett with their story.
Kelly McGowan used crutches this morning. The 21-year-old SMU student, a member of the school's row team, had hip surgery 2 weeks ago.
I stand in front of all of you today, unable to walk or sit without pain.
McGowan and 7 other former members of SMU row teams from the past 5 years are listed in a discrimination lawsuit against the university.
Now all I can do is go for a walk, and sometimes that hurts too much to continue.
The women claim each of them lived with pain from injuries and endured hip and joint surgeries because the university sidestepped equitable qualified training and coaching for the women-only program. Their attorney says SMU violated Title IX rules, requiring equal programs for males and females, and the players' injuries are the evidence.
SMU had the opportunity and the ability to correct this, to provide true equality to its female rowers. It simply chose not to.
Late this afternoon, a statement from the university. It reads in part, SMU's foremost concern is always students' health and well-being. For student athletes in particular, our goal in our training programs is to emphasize and support health, fitness, and injury prevention. It says the university is committed to complying with Title IX in its athletic programs and throughout the campus. The student athletes here today say their injuries and experience don't reflect that. Steve Pickett, CBS 11 News, University Park.
The city of Dallas cracking down on bike share programs.
I mean, imagine someone in a wheelchair who can't get around because there's a bike that's laying down in the middle of the sidewalk or the ramp.
The deadline leaders have set for companies to clean up the clutter or else.
Also, traffic alert ahead of the weekend. Have you heard about what's going to be happening all weekend on 183? Well, we will balance the bad traffic news with the good news that Mr. Padgett has.
And we are going to be seeing temperatures continuing to warm up, so that's great news for our weekend weather. And with it, though, we have some Sunday storms in the forecast. Could we see those turn severe? I'll answer that question next on CBS 11 News, the ones for Texas weather.
There's a whole secret society out there that craves life beyond the civilized world. If you know what we're talking about, you're in. Equipped with Toyota Safety Sense Standard, the virtually indestructible new 2018 Tundra and Tacoma.
Right now, qualified buyers can get 0% APR on Toyota trucks. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places.
We're here to inspire you with the largest collection of home goods anywhere, no matter what you need or want. Furniture, flooring, appliances, and electronics. It's all in one time and money-saving place. Nebraska Furniture Mart. Come explore our store. See, touch, test, make it your own. Find it quick with help from trained sales professionals. The basics, the best, the finishing touches. Nebraska Furniture Mart. We make the place you live, the place you love.
Diamonds. The Jewelry Exchange has 1 carat certified white SI quality diamonds for $29.90, 3/4 carat certified $11.90, and 2 carat certified for $58.90. Thousands of GIA diamonds at insane prices. Buy direct and save. The Jewelry Exchange, family owned.
Hi there, I'm Chef Stephen Piles, and I've just traveled from North Texas on a non-stop flight to Traverse City, and I'm headed to Gaylord because I want you to discover how to eat, see, and play in northern Michigan. Gaylord is the golf mecca and home to 15 championship golf courses.
So it's a special spot here at Treetops. We've got 5 golf courses.
We certainly don't have this elevation in Texas, but they don't stop at golf, offering farm-to-fork dining is second to none.
And there's nothing better when you get off the trail or get done with a day of golf, enjoying in spots like this and enjoying great food.
In fact, the entire Gaylord region is an agricultural bounty, which means the country's best farmers markets. For those who want a lodging experience that goes beyond hotels, Pine Cone Accommodations offers lakefront rental homes for groups of all sizes.
We have between 50 to 60 vacation homes. We can accommodate anyone.
So plan your travel now to experience everything Gaylord, Michigan has to offer. For Eat, See, Play, I'm Chef Stephen Piles.
My husband's probably going to think I'm crazy. He thinks I'm going to see my sister.
Sometimes the confidence to be spontaneous starts with financial stability.
Once I heard it, I was shocked. I just thought, I have to go get it. It's our tree.
See how a personalized financial strategy and access to JP Morgan investment expertise can help you. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Don't spread the flu, spread the word. Go to cbsdfw.com and click on Flu Guide and see the tools that can help you fight the flu.
See the Harlem Globetrotters live.
Playing January 27th and 28th.
All eyes on Washington, D.C., of course, as lawmakers are trying to keep the government running beyond the midnight deadline tonight.
Jeff Glor and the CBS Evening News crew following that story for us and more. Jeff?
Hey, Doug and Gilma, tonight as the clock ticks down, our D.C. reporters are tracking the latest negotiations, and we will look at the practical implications of a government shutdown. Delta starts to impose stricter rules on therapy dogs and animals on board flights, saying it's a safety issue. And Steve Hartman is on the road in rural Georgia with a story of eternal love. Those stories tonight on the CBS Evening News. Gilma and Doug, back to you. Have a good weekend.
Same to you, Jeff. We'll see you soon. Well, you've probably seen them around, blocking sidewalks, even on the highway. There are nearly 20,000 rideshare bikes in Dallas, and they're starting to cause problems. So if the companies responsible don't clean up their act by February 9th, TxDOT is going to start switching gears.
We want to make sure that what we're doing is going to be sustainable for everybody.
Officials say they may create new policies to address the problem and start removing bikes and hold them until companies collect them.
A section of highway is going to completely shut down this weekend. It's one you may use a bunch during the weekend, and it could impact anybody heading to the airport or into Irving. Those are just a couple of hot spots. Crews are going to be shifting some of the lanes on westbound 183 onto new bridges and main lanes. So what does that mean? Westbound 183 at 35E and some ramps will be closed, and that will be all weekend long. Our traffic expert Madison Sawyer tonight here to help you navigate the closure.
Well, this is definitely one of those weekend closures you are going to want to plan around. That's going to be concentrated around 183 westbound. If you travel from the Dallas area trying to get over into Irving or even near the south entrance of DFW Airport, 183 westbound is going to be completely closed. That's going to start tonight at 9 o'clock and go all the way until 6 o'clock Monday morning. So this is a complete closure all weekend long. During this closure, TxDOT will be detouring traffic onto 35E northbound. From there, you'll exit Northwest Highway to connect to Loop 12 southbound, and then that will lead you to 183 westbound. But this is going to be majorly congested because this is already an area that is heavily prone to construction. So therefore, my suggestion, take Irving Boulevard. You can access it off of Commonwealth from Simmons Freeway. Irving Boulevard leads straight through the Irving area past Loop 12, and then will connect you up to 183 westbound past the area that is closed, and hopefully save you some time and hassle this weekend.
All right, translation, don't go on 183. My brain hurts.
Exactly. And you may not want to even spend a lot of time in your car because this is the weekend to come out of hibernation. Finally,
really?
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Temperatures finally back into the 70s for us, which is well above average for this time of the year. So you're going to enjoy the nice warm up in store, and hopefully you have some outdoor plans. Saturday, probably your better day than Sunday. Looking at what's happening on our satellite and radar combined, you notice that the cloud cover definitely in place today in parts of North Texas, holding together. This is the visible satellite. So as we're losing the sunshine, we're losing the reflectivity off of the top of that. But you can still see how the cloud cover was in the southeast sides of the Metroplex through the majority of the day today. Our high today reached 58 degrees, where we had the cloud cover really socked in, only the mid-50s, Mineola down to near Tyler, where we have more sunshine, mid to the upper 60s out to the west. Our average high this time of the year should be 57, so an average January day for us here in North Texas. We're sitting at 52 right now in Terrell, to 60 still in Bridgeport, to 53 in Athens, and across the Metroplex, some cloud cover around. It's 54 in Denton, to 51 Allen and McKinney. So not too bad on this finally Friday night. You still might need that light jacket the next few hours, and we're on our way down tonight to temperatures actually a little bit warmer than we have seen, about 50 degrees by the time we get to near about 1 o'clock, on our way down into the upper 40s. Then tomorrow, we're going to make it up to 70 degrees. I do expect to see maybe some fog and drizzle developing overnight tonight into the morning hours. That cloud cover then gives way to more sunshine and really breezy conditions. South winds near 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that's going to help clear out some of those clouds, but also the sunshine is going to be in place. You see how those clouds clear out into the afternoon hours, and we respond to that sunshine. Our west counties in the mid-70s, east counties in the mid-60s. Now, we have a return of moisture, though, at the low levels going going into Saturday night and then into Sunday. With that return of the moisture, our cloud cover really will be increasing through the day on late Saturday night and through the day on Sunday. Then we have this cold front that is on the way. And as this cold front starts to push its way through, rain chances really do go up to about a 30 to 40% chance through Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. And then we see those storms and the frontal boundary continue to push its way to the east. Will we see severe weather? Marginal risk on Sunday east of the Metroplex, our eastern counties. Maybe some strong winds, maybe some damaging winds. Dime-sized hail can't be ruled out, and some brief downpours, but it's not going to be a big severe event. We're going to be dealing, though, with in some spots maybe half of an inch to near an inch and a half of rain, mainly in our east counties, as that line really comes together and continues to push its way to the east. Also behind the front, we'll have drier conditions and windy conditions. Fire weather watch in effect Sunday from 11 in the morning to about 9 on Sunday night. After that, we do cool back down. We're at the low 70s on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday in the upper 50s to the low 60s. And you notice those morning temperatures above freezing the next 7 days.
Hallelujah, winter's over. Well, maybe not
so much.
We'll see. We're hoping. Looking for a new furry friend, perhaps? Arlington Animal Services is offering 50% off adoption fees for cats and dogs today as well as tomorrow. You can even see who's looking for a fur-ever friend on their website. We've put a link for you right at cbsdfw.com. Just look into the animal's eyes. That's all you need to do. We have shown you videos of porch pirates to get your blood boiling. It gets our blood boiling, but maybe nothing quite like this.
It was frustrating and aggravating, especially when I saw it was a little kid that they had come out of the car to go grab the package.
Well, we have learned about the person behind the wheel of that getaway car.
But first, here's what's coming up tonight on CBS 11.
The MLK savings keep coming at Conn's Home Plus with non-stop deals on a huge selection of appliances from brands like Samsung, LG, and more. The latest technology starting at just $23 a month. And only Conn's has yes money financing. Just go to Cons.com to apply and get approved instantly. Then get to the MLK sale held over at Conn's Home Plus.
You want a better life at our best price. You deserve it at Conn's.
Real members are saving real money on auto insurance through AAA.
I was pretty shocked to find out that I was going to save $400 with AAA. I thought that it was going to be much more expensive.
With AAA, I saved $300 a year.
When you're trying to raise a family and in this economy, it's really nice to be able to save.
I would pay more for this level of customer service, but with AAA, I don't have to.
At AAA, saving money matters to our members, so it matters to us. Switch, and you could save an average of $447 on auto insurance. That could be hundreds better than Geico, State Farm, even Allstate.
I have my house insurance, I have my car insurance. It was a no-brainer for me to go with AAA.
Oh, I love AAA so much because it's enabled us to do other things with that money.
With AAA, we love the customer service.
And the price.
I'm glad I switched. What are you waiting for?
Join the thousands who are saving. Call 888-847-5658 for your free quote. AAA Insurance. So easy, so smart, so switch.
There's no better time to visit your Hyundai dealer for huge savings on all new vehicles like the Hyundai Elantra. And for a limited time, get yours for 0% APR. The Elantra is available with blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert.
You won't find that on a Corolla or Civic.
And it's backed by America's best warranty.
And I'm sold.
Better is the reason to buy Hyundai. Right now, get up to $3,000 in total savings or 0% APR on the 2018 Elantra. Visit buyhyundai.com.
You can never be fully prepared for parenthood. Some things will be easy, but what if they're not? You don't have to have all the answers, just this one, Cook Children's. Our pediatricians are with you every inch of the way, working with world-class specialists and researchers for the one child who matters most, yours. Because childhood should be simple.
Here's to the longest 8 seconds in sports. May your ride be true. Boot Barn, proud to be a sponsor of the world's greatest rodeo.
Police in Florida have arrested a woman who deployed a child, basically, as a porch pirate. Earlier this week, a man near Orlando caught on camera a little boy taking his Amazon box off his porch. There he goes. He didn't want to be identified, but did say that surveillance video shows the car driving slowly down the street, looking at the houses. Then the car comes back around, and then, as you see here, the little boy jumps out.
First, I work hard for my money, and then they come and steal it, and then I see that they're teaching their kid to steal. I just think that's terrible.
It is. Police used this video to arrest the boy's babysitter. Turned out it was 20-year-old Santana Lindsay for child neglect and a host of other charges.
How long do you think a dragon could survive in a world of snow? Well, there's one sitting comfortably in a Finland snow hotel. And of course, it's all within the Game of Thrones theme. The huge dragon is actually a slide surrounded by snowy tributes to the popular show. There's even a life-size Iron Throne made entirely of, you guessed it, snow.
Two brothers are about to create something that could alter the course of human history. Or at least Broadway. Something Rotten.
January 17th through the 21st at Bass Hall. Tickets at basshall.com.
Every time I smiled, I had to cover my mouth because I was so ashamed. When the denture slipped, I would have to excuse myself and go to the restroom virtually in tears. It kept me from being able to speak properly. I could not eat corn, apples, baby back ribs. I did not want dentures to be part of my life. I pretty much decided dental implants were the route I was going to take.
Let's do a head-to-head comparison of dental implants versus dentures. With dentures, the ability to taste food, to bite and chew is altered. The worst thing about dentures, bone loss. When you put an implant inside the bone, which is like the root of a tooth, now you preserve the bone. It's a game changer. With implants, you walk into a restaurant, you order anything you want. You eat just like you have real teeth.
Before you knew it, here I was with my brand new teeth.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I can smile, my confidence is back.
Call Clear Choice today.
At Golden Chick, we never rush a good thing. Unlike others, we marinate every piece of chicken 24 hours to seal in tender, juicy flavor. We bake our yeast rolls from scratch all day long, and we serve up both on our Lucky 7 deal. 7 pieces of crispy, hand-breaded chicken, 3 fresh-baked rolls, and mashed potatoes. At only $10.99, it's your lucky day. 100% handmade quality, 0 shortcuts. Only at Golden Chick.
Golden Chick.
Something Rotten is an explosion of musical joy. It's got the most laughs, the most singing and dancing, and 10 Tony Award nominations, including Best Musical. Something Rotten.
January 17th through the 21st at Bass Hall. Tickets at basshall.com.
Making house calls to those with no home.
And I get to look people in the eye that don't get looked in the eye very often.
We go inside homeless camps. How they're healing more than wounds. They're healing lives. Tonight on CBS 11 News at 10.
New Monday. Tired of boring first dates? How about an escape room?
Where are you?
I'm in a dungeon.
Rebecca is crazy. Every ex-boyfriend has a restraining order against her. Get out now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. A new Kevin Can Wait. Then, prepare for the 7 most frightening words ever spoken.
Welcome home, honey. The kids have lice.
Don't miss a new man with a plan right after a new Kevin Can Wait, CBS Monday.
It's Wheel Around the World. Last stop, Brazil.
I'm the host of Roda Roda.
I couldn't help but notice they had a female host.
Tonight at 6:30 on CBS 11.
Tonight when we see at 6 o'clock, first there were trucks on a boat. Now Encore electricity workers are doing even more to help Puerto Rico. What's about to happen this evening that will help that island continue recovering from Hurricane Maria?
If you're looking for relationship advice, take it from these two. This Iowa couple has been married for 79 years. Keith and Janet met in the mid-1930s, and they eloped just a few months after. They say the key is to have fun.
We just had a great time doing things together. And none of it would have happened if Jeanette hadn't been here.
They started a business and a family, and after all these years, the Elwicks still managed to have a good time. And it looks like they have the Fountain of Youth on their side, too. One lucky couple.
They look phenomenal.
Yes, love looks good on them.
Love it.
Oh, we love the weather too. Dramatic pause there. I was just, kind of looking at that too. Yeah. 48 degrees for us this morning. For tomorrow morning is pretty nice. 70 degrees Saturday, Sunday 72. So, yeah, get outside with your loved one this weekend. Have some fun. Make some great memories, right?
Sounds lovely.
Yes,
Thank you, Scott. That does it for us on CBS 11 News at 5, The Ones for Texas.
Heading for a shutdown.
They have literally pushed everybody into the corner.
We will not be blackmailed.
If you're good at the art of the deal, this is a good time to show it.
Also tonight, the new U.S. defense strategy. Terrorism is no longer the top priority.
Our competitive edge has eroded in every domain of warfare.
A gold medal winning gymnast faces her abuser.
I will not rest until every last trace of your influence on this sport has been destroyed like the cancer it is.
In airlines, new rules for service dogs.
That's a happy story.
And Steve Hartman with the happy story of a man with a photographic memory.
And that light was turned on. It ain't never been turned off. And we never will be.
This is the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor.
Good evening. If Republicans and Democrats can't settle their differences in the next few hours, the federal government will start shutting down operations at midnight Eastern Time. Senate Democrats are refusing to vote for a bill to fund the government until Republicans agree to provide legal status for immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally as children. President Trump and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer had a sit-down today, but is it too late? Here's Chief Congressional Correspondent Nancy Cordes.
As the clock ticked down today, protesters took aim at congressional paralysis. And the White House took aim at the Senate's top Democrat.
OMB is preparing for what we're calling the Schumer shutdown.
But by midday, as the stalemate wore on, the president summoned Schumer to the White House for what he later called an excellent meeting. Schumer was more cautious.
We made some progress, but we still have a good number of disagreements.
The main disagreement, how to replace the DACA program, which protects nearly 700,000 immigrant dreamers from deportation.
These young people are in a hurry to find out whether or not they have a life. That's what it comes down to.
The president plans to terminate DACA in March and says any legislative fix must be paired with tough immigration reforms. But the list keeps changing.
We're interested in what his views are, and those have not been made fully apparent yet.
The irony underlying this fight is that both sides overwhelmingly support both funding the government and protecting the so-called dreamers.
The differences of opinion are not that wide.
We could have gotten this done a couple of months ago.
With little to do today but wait for news, lawmakers spent their time pre-blaming the other side.
I'm surprised that Democrats are willing to shut down the government.
Democrats are not about shutting down government.
If you're good at the art of the deal, this is a good time to show it.
But with Congress struggling to perform one of its most basic functions, Louisiana's John Kennedy noted no one looks good.
That our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots.
Congressional leaders and the White House are still negotiating at this hour, but even if there's a breakthrough before midnight, they'll have to bring the entire Senate and the House back to vote. So a shutdown could still take effect, Jeff, at least temporarily.
Nancy Cordes on top of this story all day. Nancy, thank you. So what will happen if there is a partial shutdown? Juliana Goldman has been looking into that.
We're all sort of at a standstill, in limbo.
A shutdown could furlough roughly 800,000 federal workers, among them Talana Morton-Smith, an IT specialist with the National Endowment for the Humanities.
We have mortgages, we have children in school, we have bills.
She'd be left without a paycheck until a new spending bill is passed. So would congressional staffers, but their bosses, members of Congress, the president and vice president, would still be paid. Budget Director Mick Mulvaney.
The military will still go to work. They will not get paid.
During the 2013 shutdown, Congress passed a bill allowing paychecks for military personnel and supporting civilians, and all federal workers ultimately received back pay.
The border will still be patrolled. They will not get paid. Fire folks will still be fighting the fires out west. They will not get paid.
And in the midst of a severe flu season, the Centers for Disease Control won't have the personnel to support its annual flu program. Unlike in 2013, the Trump administration will keep open national parks and monuments. But it's not a total win for tourists. The Smithsonian says museums and the National Zoo would stay open through the weekend, but close on Monday. And get your Panda Cam viewing in now, because that shuts down with a shutdown.
A shutdown is always heartbreaking, and the uncertainty that comes along with it.
Social Security checks would still be mailed out, and because the Postal Service has its own funding, mail will still be delivered and post offices would remain open. It all comes at a cost. The two-week 2013 shutdown cost the economy roughly $20 billion. Jeff?
Wow, Juliana Goldman, thank you. For continuing coverage of a possible government shutdown and the latest attempts to head it off, you can also watch our 24-hour streaming news service, CBSN. And John Dickerson will have the latest Sunday as he anchors Face the Nation for the last time. John's guests will include Budget Director Mick Mulvaney and Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein of California. You can, of course, see John now on CBS This Morning. The flu epidemic got worse last week. The CDC reported today there were more than 14,000 new cases nationwide, bringing the total for the season to more than 74,000. 10 children died of the flu last week. That is 30 so far for this season. The CDC does not track deaths among adults. The neighbor accused of attacking Kentucky Senator Rand Paul has agreed to plead guilty to assaulting a member of Congress, according to court papers. Rene Boucher could face jail time, according to his lawyer. Paul suffered 6 broken ribs in the attack last year at his home in Bowling Green. Federal prosecutors in New Jersey announced today they will retry Democratic Senator Robert Menendez on corruption charges. The first trial ended in a hung jury. Menendez, who's up for re-election this year, is accused of trading political favors for gifts and campaign donations. Olympic gold medalist Ali Reisman lashed out in court today at the former team doctor for USA Gymnastics. Larry Nassar will likely spend the rest of his life in prison after pleading guilty to sexually abusing young athletes. Reisman says Nassar assaulted her, too.
I am here to face you, Larry, so you can see I've regained my strength, that I'm no longer a victim, I'm a survivor. I am no longer that little girl you met in Australia, where you first began grooming and manipulating.
Nassar's sentencing hearing in Michigan will stretch into next week as more than 100 of his survivors get a chance to speak out. There is a major change in U.S. military strategy. Today, more than 16 years after the 9/11 attacks, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis said terrorism is no longer the #1 priority. David Martin has more on what is.
These mock ships, the size of American destroyers, are laid out in China's missile impact test range on the edge of the Gobi Desert. They are the mirror image of the U.S. Navy base in Yokosuka, Japan, headquarters of the 7th Fleet. You can see an impact crater next to one of the mock ships, close enough to have destroyed all 3. Pentagon officials cite this analysis by a U.S. Navy officer assigned to a Washington think tank as one of many reasons China and Russia have replaced terrorism as the primary focus of the new national defense strategy. Maintaining a military advantage over China and Russia is now Defense Secretary Mattis's top priority.
Our competitive edge has eroded in every domain of warfare: air, land, sea, space, and cyberspace, and it is continuing to erode.
According to one official, China has increased its defense spending by 10% each year for the past 20 years in an effort to counter U.S. abilities to operate in the Western Pacific. This Pentagon report says China has modernized its conventionally armed missile force extraordinarily rapidly. And this map lists the types of Chinese missiles in range of U.S. bases in Japan. The targets erected in China's far west included parked aircraft similar to this American F-22 at Kadena Air Base in southern Japan, hardened aircraft shelters like those at Misawa Air Base in northern Japan, and above-ground fuel tanks laid out like those at a U.S. military fuel terminal. America's military advantage has eroded in part because it's been fighting wars for the past 16 years. But Secretary Mattis said no enemy in the field has done more to harm the readiness of the U.S. military than the inability of Congress to agree upon a budget. Jeff?
Interesting. David Martin, thank you. Along the border between North and South Korea today, the Olympic torch was carried across the unification bridge near the demilitarized zone. Though bitter enemies, the North and South will march together at the opening ceremony in 3 weeks. After 3 years of drought, a metropolitan area of nearly 4 million faces tough choices. Cape Town, South Africa could become the world's first major city to run out of water. What they're calling Day Zero may be less than 3 months away. Deborah Pata is there.
Surrounded by two oceans, Cape Town looks nothing like a city that could soon run out of water. But 3 years of successive droughts have devastated its water supplies.
Normally I would be completely underwater standing here, but if you look back, you can see the dam levels are critically low, sitting at less than 20%. And this is one of Cape Town's main sources of water, a source that could run dry within a matter of weeks.
Local government has imposed severe water restrictions. Security guards make sure there is no violence as lineups grow longer.
Imagine no water. How will it be? Chaos. It's going to be terrible.
It has changed our lives dramatically, you know. But I mean, it's also a lesson for us not to waste water.
Residents are only allowed 23 gallons of water per person a day. Next month, that goes down to 13 gallons, enough for a 90-second shower, a quick toilet flush, and one large bottle of drinking water. Americans use around 100 gallons daily. Climate scientist Peter Johnston doesn't like the look of Cape Town's future.
We are very, very confident that temperatures are going to increase. They have been doing so, and they are still going to do so. So that increased temperature is going to increase evaporation. Increased evaporation is going to mean that there's less water that's available for our use.
Day zero may be fast approaching. Deborah Pato, CBS News, Cape Town, South Africa.
Now to some other stories we're following in the evening news feed. America this year could become the world's leading oil producer. The International Energy Agency predicts the U.S. will hit historic highs, topping 10 million barrels a day. That would overtake oil giants Saudi Arabia and Russia, which have agreed to limit production to keep prices up. The Clark County Sheriff in Nevada released a preliminary report today on the October 1st Las Vegas massacre, including photos from the gunman's hotel room. They show Stephen Paddock's arsenal of high-powered rifles and the surveillance cameras he rigged to a food cart and his door. The report sheds no light on Paddock's motive for murdering 58 people and wounding more than 500 before he killed himself. Baltimore's police commissioner was fired today. The city has a record-high murder rate. Kevin Davis is out after 2.5 years. He is replaced by Deputy Commissioner Daryl D'Souza, a 30-year veteran. And there is much more ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News.
It's just nice to have something there to cuddle with.
Why one airline is making it harder for your pet to be a passenger.
Pilots struggle to land in heavy winds.
Hey baby, I'm back again.
Clarence Purvis's wife Carolyn died 4 years ago, but he still takes her to lunch 6 days a week.
I can't figure out if this is a really sad story or a really happy story.
It's a happy story.
I thought I married an Italian.
My lineage was the Vecchios and Zuccolis. Through ancestry, through the DNA, I found out that I was only 16% Italian.
He was 34% Eastern European. So I went on to Ancestry, soon learned that one of our ancestors we thought was Italian was Eastern European.
This is my ancestor I didn't know about. He looks a little bit like me, yes.
Ancestry has many paths to discovering your story. Get started for free at Ancestry.com.
There are plenty of good booking sites, but your ideal hotel may only be listed on one, or several, but for very different prices. You really want to check them all? Instead, use Trivago to compare these offers and find your ideal hotel for the best price. Hotel Trivago.
We're wired with 100 billion nerve cells, so when aggravated nerves cause pain, use New Salon-Pos Lidocaine Plus. One anesthetic numbs nerves fast, while maximum strength lidocaine calms them for hours. New Salon-Pos Lidocaine Plus. Also try our lidocaine patch.
Delta Airlines has new rules for bringing service and support animals on planes. They take effect March 1st. Don Daler has details.
It's not unusual these days to see a service or support animal of various kinds, from dogs to pigs to ducks, even horses, on commercial airplanes. Floridian Bertie Dombrowski flew to Atlanta with her dog, Paquito.
It's just nice to have something there to cuddle with and just, calm you and keep you, chill.
Delta, which carries 700 animals a day, 250,000 annually, says a growing trend of bad behavior by the animals, like biting or urinating, has increased 84% over the past year. The airline is now introducing new regulations, requiring a signed document stating the animal is trained to behave, a letter saying the animal is in good health and vaccinated, and if it's an emotional support animal, a signed letter from a healthcare professional, all 48 hours before the flight.
Good job, guys.
Tom Panic, CEO of Guiding Eyes for the Blind, was on a Delta flight recently made miserable by a misbehaving support dog.
For 2.5 hours, the passengers had to tolerate this dog while it was barking, lunging, and disrupting the flight. And no one wanted to confront this individual and say that that dog is not appropriate as an emotional support dog.
It might seem like a harmless way to travel with your pet, but Panic says there are serious repercussions.
It profoundly affects us because the next time we go into a restaurant, they may tell me, no, you don't have access here. And I wouldn't be able to take 3 steps without Gus.
The Air Carrier Access Law requires airlines to grant access to service animals used by people with disabilities. But increasingly, that law is being abused by non-disabled pet owners. So 19 states have laws against calling untrained dogs service dogs. Arizona is considering legislation to become the 20th.
Some very good points made there, Don. Thank you very much. Sure. Up next, a boat speeding toward them and only seconds to act.
Which is the only egg good enough for my family? Only Eggland's Best. With more farm fresh taste, more vitamins, and 25% less saturated fat, only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
There's only one brand you need to know to save on all the best big brand name mattresses, and that's Nebraska Furniture Mart. Now all mattress sets are on sale with free delivery on select sets. Choose from more than 75 mattresses on display. Get a Sealy Firm Queen mattress for $179. This Beautyrest Firm Queen mattress is only $279 with up to 75-month financing available. Shop where big brands are all on sale with free delivery too. Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Video has just been released of 3 people on a fishing trip in Oregon last summer. They had only seconds to react as a bigger boat, look at this, sped toward them. Facing disaster, they jumped overboard. All 3 say they were hurt. This week, one sued the other driver who claims his view was blocked by his dashboard. Planes are not supposed to land sideways, but in Dusseldorf, Germany this week, it looked like one might have to. Strong crosswinds tossed the plane back and forth before the pilot brought it down safely. Nice job. The larger jet faced the same problem. The pilot said, the heck with it, he aborted that landing. If you want to see big waves, you'll find them in Portugal this time of year. They can reach up to 80 feet. And yes, there are people daring enough or crazy enough to surf on them. Powerful storms in the Atlantic cause these massive swells. The ride is exhilarating, the wipeouts painful. Steve Hartman is next with our final story tonight.
It's a happy story.
Tell me why.
There are plenty of good booking sites, but your ideal hotel may only be listed on one, or several, but for very different prices. You really want to check them all? Instead, use Trivago to compare these offers and find your ideal hotel for the best price. Hotel Trivago.
This is.
At 6 on CBS 11, moviegoers exposed to measles. Make sure you're not one of them. Steps to protect yourself from the highly contagious new threat.
I'm James Patterson. I write mystery novels.
Nothing I've ever written compares to the story of Aaron Hernandez. And you don't know the half of it yet.
We end the week with a story of undying love, told by Steve Hartman on the road.
6 days a week for years, retired mechanic Clarence Purvis had lunch with his wife at this restaurant in Reedsville, Georgia. But we're here today because he still does. Although Carolyn died 4 years ago, she remains his lunch date.
She's a perfect wife, if ever been one. Ain't nobody loved one another more than we love one another. Everybody said that.
They were unbelievable. I mean, you could tell that they adored each other.
972.
That's why restaurant owner Joyce James says she wasn't surprised in the least when Clarence started showing up with the picture, which is really just a small part of his all-day devotion. Each morning begins with a trip to the cemetery.
Hey, baby, I'm back again.
Where, at the ripe old age of 93, Clarence gets down on bended knee to give his wife her morning kiss.
Maybe I wish you could go home with me. If not, I'd trade places with you, Lord's will, wouldn't we?
Before the sun sets, he will be back here again, at least 4 more times.
I'll be back.
Just to check on her.
This is her here?
In between visits, he basks in the memories of their 64-year marriage.
Oh, you got posters.
His house, like a monument to their love, complete with an eternal flame of sorts.
And that light was turned on. It ain't never been turned off. It never will be.
Outside of the Taj Mahal, you won't find a more convincing testament to true love than this home. Outside of a Shakespeare sonnet, you won't find a more eloquent love poem than her picture on her pillow.
I can't figure out if this is a really sad story or a really happy story.
It's a happy story.
Tell me why.
How many people in this world have that much love this day and time? You know?
She was sweet and still sweet.
I had to agree with Joyce. He is happiest when he's talking to her or about her.
I'm gonna give you something.
Which is why if you can't make it to the shrine, he'll bring the shrine to you.
It never been turned off since my wife died. Y'all keep that, okay?
Today, there's not a resident in Reedsville who hasn't been offered a picture of the lamp or the tombstone.
We had a good life.
Not a passerby who doesn't know what they missed.
Ain't no other girl for me but her.
Obviously, no one ever wants to suffer a loss like his. But Clarence Purvis does offer us something to strive for. The ability to love this deeply. Steve Hartman, on the road in Reedsville, Georgia.
It's like the best part of the week, every week. If you have an idea for an on-the-road story, Steve would love to hear from you. You can send an email to ontheroad@cbsnews.com. And that is the CBS Evening News this week. I'm Jeff Glor. Good night.
Live from Dallas and Fort Worth, this is CBS 11 News at 6. The ones for Texas.
It's a rare move. A Dallas jury will go back to work tomorrow on a Saturday to try to reach a verdict in a murder trial. Thank you for joining us. I'm Gilma Avalos in for Kaylee O'Kelly while she's on leave.
I'm Doug Dunbar. So this trial involves Antonio Cochran. Jurors wrapped up the 3rd day of deliberations just a little over an hour ago in the kidnapping and death of 18-year-old Zoe Hastings. Earlier today, the jury did ask how long they needed to deliberate before the judge rules they're deadlocked. Hastings disappeared from a Dallas pharmacy while returning a rental movie back in 2015. Her body was later found in a nearby creek.
A federal judge is ordering the state of Texas to make top-to-bottom changes to its foster care system. The judge's order requires Texas Child Protective Services to overhaul its record-keeping, caseworker visit policies, and the process of deciding where children are placed to change. About 30,000 children are in the Texas foster care system. In the past, the judge has criticized it for causing more damage to children than when they enter the foster care system. Attorney General Ken Paxton says he will appeal and release a statement saying in part the legislature approved and Governor Abbott signed landmark legislation last year to fund improvements in Texas's foster care system. Unfunded and unrealistic mandates ordered by an unelected federal judge are misguided.
Texas leaders have a measles health alert after people at a Waxahachie theater were exposed to the virus. Happened back on the 9th of January. It was at the ShowBiz Cinemas when a theater goer infected with this virus was there and saw a movie. The measles is very contagious, especially for people who are not vaccinated. The CDC says the common measles vaccine also protects against mumps and rubella, but the vaccine requires two shots that some people fail to get, both doses. But even with both doses, the vaccine's about 97% effective, not 100, meaning some people, of course, can still get sick, even if they have the vaccination series. Some symptoms include a rash with red spots that kind of spreads down the neck. You can also get a fever, they say, over 101 degrees with this, a cough, runny nose, also red and watery eyes.